this organic thing of something you just sort of did anyway, to where someone, a program director, somebody realized, yeah, this guy complains like Stevie Ray Vaughan plays the guitar.
Program director?
We need to make a bit
Program director? No.
Or like, how much fighting did you have to do with the program director?
Yeah, let me just go off on, I'm not going to mention any names, but yes, this is what fucking program directors are supposed to fucking be doing. This is what they're supposed to do, but they never do that. No idea would ever come out of a program director's mouth that went, hey, what is my talent strength? Can we play to his strength? What does he seem to gravitate toward? What do people seem to enjoy? What is his unique talent? No, that would never, ever come out of the voice of a program director. Ever. Their idea is, how about you give out the time, and how about we do the Wing Bowl? That's huge in Philly. They would never, ever, and no program director, no executive, no producer, nobody I've ever worked with outside of the Donnies of the world and the Bald Bryans of the world, the Mike Lynches of the world, and the Angies of the world, and Jimmy Kimmel and people like that, those people have been fine. Like, hey, this is what you do. It'd be funny if we did this. No program director, no producer, and no suit has ever pulled me aside and went, hey, man, you know what you're pretty good at? Perhaps we should try to nurture that and see if we can't get it on the air. They do not do that. They should do that. They should fucking do that. But they never, ever do it. All they do is argue with you when you want to do it. And the reason they argue with you is because people before you haven't done it. So they don't go. They don't go, hey, I got a great idea, Ace Man. How about what Can-Am complain about? No. They go, hey, I got a great idea. When I used to produce Rick Dees in 1982, this is what he would do. So why don't you do that too? That's all they can do. That's all they ever do. At every level, television and radio.
And it's like a self-fulfilling thing, because now instead of having talent on the morning show, they've just got Lady Gaga playing. It's void of anything actually interesting.
Yeah, so they're not interested in being interesting, believe you me, and they didn't get where they are through being interesting. And no, that has never been a program. There's no good idea that's ever come from a program director's mouth that I've ever dealt with. Other than, here's what program directors do. Program directors do an apology-driven radio, which is louder, faster, roll more calls, and get the fuck off the air. Move, move, move. The whole time I was at K-Rock, my program director said, take more calls, take more calls, take more calls. We'd meet once every 6 months. We'd sit down. He'd say, take more calls. I'd say, will do. And then I'd go back and take 4 calls in 2 hours. And then 6 months later, we'd sit down. And he'd say, take more calls. And I'd go back and take 4 calls in 2 hours. Roll calls. All they can do, all TV producers can do, and all radio producers can do, and program directors can do, is tell you to go faster. That's the whole thing. Faster with louder music beds. It's an apology. They don't have content, and when you don't have content, you have to go faster and you have to pump up the volume, and that's all they know. If you do have someone who can provide content, they don't give a shit. Here's what it is. I'll tell you exactly what it is. Look, this is going to sound like sour grapes or whatever it is. It's the God's honest truth. It's what's wrong with 90% of TV and 90% of radio. There was a format that was put into place, and that format was put into place to apologize for people who weren't interesting, who weren't provocative, who weren't funny, who couldn't think on their feet, who couldn't do what can't Adam complain about. It's literally impossible for other DJs to do that. Why? They're marginal talents. I hate to sound like a jack-off, but it's true. They can't improvise as fast as I can improvise. Pure and simple, end of discussion. Look, I'm sorry to sound like a jack-off, but I've said it many times. I'm a good carpenter. I was a good carpenter, and I still am a good carpenter. And if people ask me, are you a good carpenter? I don't go, well, I'm okay, I guess. I'm sure there are many carpenters that are better. I go, fuck yes, I'm a good carpenter. And they go, could you do my whatever? Would you? And I'd be like, listen, it'd be the best day of your life if I took over your kitchen project and did it, because I'm good. But I don't do that. But yes, I'm a good carpenter. And look, I don't think that makes me a fuck stick. I worked hard at it. I learned the craft of carpentry. I was passionate about it. I did it. I had tons of repetition with it, and I became a good carpenter and a good designer, and I will tell people that. But if you tell people you're funny or fast or you're great at improvisational humor, then it's like, all right, jack off. But to me, it's no different. What's the difference between me doing improvisational humor and me being a good carpenter? I've been at it for the same length of time. You know, when I was done swinging my hammer, I went and took groundling classes. And then I went to Acme. I learned the craft of doing it. I applied it on the radio. I did it over and over again, and I got good at it. It became a skill. Part of it is God-given, even though I'm an atheist, and the other part is repetition. But like anything, whatever it is you're good at, what are you good at, Mark?
Music and audio is
right.
my thing.
And you're good at it, right?
I'm pretty good at it.
All right, and part of it is you have a good ear. It's a natural calling. And then the other part is you've worked hard at it, right? Sure. You have experience.
Absolutely.
You don't just wake up and know what a potentiometer is. You know you work at it.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what happened with me and doing improvisational comedy. And television and radio is not set up for that. It's not set up for me. It's set up for people who don't do that. And that's why you give the time out. I mean, look at it this way. And I know I've brought this up 1,000 times, but I was talking to someone about it the other day. In radio, and our program director at KLSX, 2 years into me making fun of giving out the time and what apology that was and what bullshit that was, suggested one day he popped his head in and he said, "Hey, Ace Man, I got an idea. How about you give out the time?" And I thought, what show have you been listening to? But then B, I thought, well, we're on in different time zones, so that's impossible to do. And then C, why should you give out the time? Now, just dig this. There was a time when every bank sign had the time and temperature on it, right? Remember when billboards would have the time on it and TV commercials and stuff? Like, it'd be like, it's 10:20. Do you know where your children are? And stuff like that.
Or you could call that number.
You could call
that way back.
Call time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so you'd be driving up and down the main boulevard in your town, and you'd see like signs that said, "Hey, it's Wachovia Bank, and the time is 10:33." Well, why don't they have those signs anymore? Because every single car that's going up and down that boulevard has a clock that's in the car. It's either in the radio or it's on the dashboard, right?
Right.
Has there been a car manufactured? I'd be very interested in an answer to this question. Has there been a car manufactured in the last 15 or even 20 years, and 20 years go back to 1990, that doesn't have a clock in it?
No.
Where the radio doesn't become a clock?
Right.
Answer's no. So, clocks have been in every motherfucking car in the last 20 years, right?
Right.
Now, your microwave has a clock in it. Your cell phone has a clock in it.
Yeah.
Your VCR has a clock in it. It says
your
12.
Your computer has a clock.
Your computer has a clock in it. Everything around your kitchen, your stove now, sometimes your oven has a clock in it. Everything has a clock in it. But what does radio still do? Hey, it's 10:26, 26 after the hour, 34 away from the top of the hour. What? Why? Why? I'll tell you why. They're time wasters. They have to apologize for their lack of talent and waste fucking time. Jack Silver wishes he had 1,000 Danny Bonaducci's when I was on the air with him and half of me. There's no doubt about that.
Finding fucking and drugs.
No, that's, yeah, I mean, of course. No, they're not talent-oriented, but they're time-wasting oriented. And ironically, they like to waste time by giving out the time.